stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.
Hello and welcome back to We Are Mighty. How have you been the last couple weeks? Sorry, I just had to take a deep inhale for some reason. How has the last couple of weeks been for you? How was your Thanksgiving holiday? I know for people who are dealing with grief, whether it's recent, whether it's been days, weeks, years, holidays can be very difficult. So how was your Thanksgiving? Did you make it through? I hope you were able to at least think of good memories, which sometimes can be sad as well, is what I'm noticing. I guess I am dealing with what they call holiday grief because I don't really know what's triggering me. I'm literally driving down the street, tears, hear a song. And the weird thing is, it's not a song that has anything to do with the memory. It's not a song that has anything to do with my son or any of the people who I've lost recently, because I just had another friend pass away and had her memorial service not long ago. But it'd just be a song and something in the lyrics triggered me and I had tears. It can be exhausting. It can be difficult to try to deal with, and some people just would prefer not. But it's a part of the process, right? We're still here. We still have to deal with the days as they come. And amongst those days will be holidays. Amongst those days will be birthdays. I just think it's weird how some days trigger you, some days don't. Some years a specific day will, and that day may not the next. Grief is just so hard to try to get a handle on, if that makes sense. There's so many times when I think, okay, I know this is going to be hard for me, so I have to prepare myself. And then it's not. But then I'm wondering, is it because I prepared myself? Or is it just because it just wasn't? I've said so many times that there's no cookie cutter way of dealing with grief. There is no cookie cutter grief cycle. So it's just trying to deal. And I know one of the most difficult times to try to deal are the holidays. It's funny how we say the holidays referring to like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there's holidays throughout the year. But usually the quote unquote holiday grief has to do with the Thanksgiving, Christmas, end of the year time. I don't know why those holidays specifically. Because most holidays, there's family gatherings and, fun times, memories. But it's just something about those ones at the end of the year. I have a difficult time with New Year's Eve sometimes. I guess it's the point of another year is coming. And it kind of reminds me that it's another year without my son or whomever else I've lost. But it shouldn't be a difficult time. It's literally just celebrating the end of one year and beginning of another. But, again, that's grief. That's that trickiness. It's that unpredictableness. The thing that you absolutely cannot control. And that is, with my personality, that is one of the things I absolutely hate is things that I can't control. Because I want to be in control of life, my emotions, everything that happens. And I know that I'm not. But I'd prefer to be in control most of the time. And I can say in these last 2.5 years since my son's death, I am learning how much I am not in control. And it can be upsetting. I just want to, not that I don't want to miss him, not that I don't want to feel the fact that he's not here and know that there's still memories and things. I just, some of the worst times, I hate being at work and out of nowhere, just tears flowing. Then somebody comes and asks me, "Oh, are you okay?" Yeah. Yep, I'm fine. I don't even want to tell people. I just got triggered by something. No, I have close friends at work who can catch on, and they don't even have to ask me. They know. But I'd prefer not to share. And that's just me and being private. And also, I don't want anyone else to feel bad or, feel sad with me. And there's enough sadness and things going on in the world. Just don't want to deal with it. And I know that's not healthy. That's why I've been trying to stay on this positive path and stay on a path of encouragement, trying to laugh, trying to just enjoy. But there's just those days. There was one day this week where I just driving down the street and just in a probably 90-minute span, I had cried 3 separate times. And it's weird. I wonder, honestly, if people driving can see me, because and sometimes it's that ugly cry. And I don't want nobody to see that ugly cry. And so then it's like, okay, what does this look like to these people driving past me? You have to understand, like, my personality. I do try to find humor in everything. So I'm literally in tears. And one way that I stopped myself was, you do realize there's people driving past. They can probably see how ugly you're looking right now. Or they may, honestly, at one point, they may have thought I was having a seizure or something. So I have to pull it together. I'm saying all that just to say it happens. It happens. Deal with it in that moment. Deal with it for as long as you have to. But just remember, if you're in a car, 9 times out of 10, somebody's seeing that ugly cry. And then they're trying to guess what it is that you're crying about. And they're probably wrong. So let's not give them that satisfaction. Of course, that's easy to say right now because I'm not being triggered right now. But who knows? Give me a couple minutes. You know how this podcast can get. So, when you have Thanksgiving, if you celebrate it, you try to think about, of course, what you're thankful for. And I'm getting better. Because the first Thanksgiving after my son died, I couldn't even think of anything to be thankful for. Which doesn't make sense because, of course, there's a lot to still be thankful for. But grief takes so much out of you, takes so much away from you. But you don't want to think about those other things. You don't want to think about the happy things. You want to remember the pain. You want to remember that you should be angry or that you're upset or that you're hurting and sad. And I'm glad that I'm finally past that. Because not only is it exhausting, it's painful. It's painful physically, it's painful mentally, emotionally. It's just hard. So this is probably one of the first years that on Thanksgiving, it was more of, hey, I'm thankful that I gave birth to a young man named Miles. I'm thankful that there are still, here we are 2.5 years after his death, there are still people who were close to him who care enough to reach out to me simply because I was his mother, to make sure I'm okay, to make sure our family's doing well. Or to say, I'm sure you're missing him right now. I am too. You're not alone. Those things mean a lot. And those people don't have to do that. These kids, and I call them kids, they're mid to late 20s. But they don't have to think about me and my grief. They got a whole life to live on their own. Some of them are having kids, which is crazy for me because, of course, I think about how, I told you, give me a minute, how Miles wasn't able to have a child to leave as far as, I guess, a legacy. But these kids, they still call me mama. Hey, mama, just wanted to send you pictures of the baby, or just, wanted to let you know we're expecting. And it feels good that they care enough about me to include me in those things. So yeah, this year was a little different. More positive, more looking at things from a different perspective. And I'm noticing more and more that I'm having to convince my older son to look at things from a different perspective as well. So how can I convince him or tell him stop looking at it this way and I'm still doing it? That doesn't make sense. I've never been that do as I say, not as I do parent. So as I'm helping him, it's helping me. And I'm helping others. My goddaughter is 15. And her mom got sick earlier this year in February. And has been basically in a vegetative state for 8 months. And we finally lost her a couple weeks ago. And this 15-year-old is so strong. I am learning from her. And she would just say, I just try not to think about what she went through. I try to keep it at, the happy times. And her mom was like her best friend. She just could talk to her mom about anything. And I was the same way with my kids. So seeing her from a different angle, different perspective, and she's still an honor roll student. I mean, she's just out here killing it. Does she miss her mom? Of course she does. Does she have days of sadness? Of course she does, but you wouldn't know it. And I guess that goes back to what I spoke about on the last podcast. Like, what does your journey look like to others? Can they even tell that you are grieving? And not that they should be able to. Just how do you carry it? Now, of course, the first few months I carried it very, very heavy. And now I hear so much, you don't look like what you've been through. And I don't know if I believe it, but I must be doing something. Even with the changes in my appearance. I comb my locks out and change my hair different ways. And people are, oh, I love your hair. I like that look. I like that. And I'm like, you do? I'm not sure, And I don't know if any of that is part of the grief journey, if it's part of the recovery from grief journey, or is it just, I just wanted to do something different. It's again, grief is not my identity. And I have to remember that. And I have to get to where I'm just living, not living out of grief or living as a result of grief and grief, 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 grief. I'd like for it to be that this podcast is where I focus on the grief. But outside of that, I'm able to just live. And I know that is a tall request. That is a tall expectation. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get there one day. Or at least to where I'm not breaking down out of nowhere, just at thinking about my son or seeing things that remind me of him. Like I have the weirdest fear of everyone just dying. Like that's the weirdest, the hardest thing. That's the only way I could put it. Like I have a foster child. Amazing baby. He's only 4 months old and he is so far advanced. It's crazy. But when he's sleeping soundly, like in a deep sleep, I get nervous. I literally look at him with his eyes closed, motionless, but motionless because he's in a deep sleep. And I see Miles. That's the stuff that I freaking hate, trying not to swear. That's the stuff that just makes me like, why? Why is your mind even going there? Why would that even be something that you think? Literally, when that baby's been sleeping too long, I watch to make sure I see his stomach moving, to make sure I see that he's breathing, because loss sneaks up on you like that. You never know. There's something called SIDS. They don't know what SIDS is from, what causes it, so I freak out. Driving in the car, if he's too quiet, I may pull over, get out, and make sure he's fine. It's just a crazy life that you live after dealing with an unexpected loss like that. And I'm trying to get so far past all of that. And like I said, I'm not in a negative space. I'm not in a place of I wake up depressed. I go to bed depressed. Am I dealing with depression? Yes, but I'm dealing with it. But it's just some of the thoughts that go through my head sometimes. I get angry at myself for thinking them. We have another godchild. He's in first grade. No, he's in kindergarten. And we take him to school in the morning. His mom drops him off every morning. And Monday of this week, we were waiting for her to drop him off, and she didn't get there, and it was about time that we normally leave, and she wasn't there. And I called her phone, and she didn't answer, and I instantly went into panic mode. I gotta go make sure she's okay. And I jump in my car, speed over to her house, and bang on her door. And then I hear the lock unlatched. Okay, so obviously she's here. She's okay. She must have overslept. Yeah, I didn't know this year our schools were out for the whole week for Thanksgiving. She's a teacher, so he didn't need to watch him. Plus, he didn't have school. And she just assumed that we knew. I didn't even pay attention. I passed his school going to her house. Didn't even pay attention to the fact that there were 0 cars there. Because I was already expecting the worst. That I would love to be rid of. I worry so much about everybody. And I know it's a result of grief because of the way that I worry. My parents go out of town and I'm freaking out that they're on the road until I know that they've made it to their destination. They got a big RV and they're retired. They're all over the place. And I can't think, you guys enjoy yourself because I am so worried. Okay, well, where are you going? How long does it take to get there? How many stops do you think you're going to make? Can you let me know when you make it? It's paranoia. And I'm so tired of it. But it's not something that I can just say, go away. And it goes. Because I've tried over and over again. I've been with tears in my eyes saying, what the hell are you doing? Stop this. Everything is okay. Everything will be okay. But I still can't get it back. Get it out of my head, I guess. Just a glimpse into what the journey is really like for me. I can be smiling on the outside, and in my head, worst case scenario is constantly playing. And I see it in my son, and that worries me so much because he doesn't keep it inside. So he lets me know, like, I already see this is going to happen. And I'm like, you already defeating yourself. You got the whole scenario played out before you've even entered the room. And then I'm like, okay, is that grief? Is that from loss? Or is it just that he's an overthinker? There's so many things in life that intertwine or I guess overlap that like the combination can also be catastrophic. Think of grieving and being an overthinker and dealing with, other situations. Grief isn't the only thing that happens in your life. So when you have that going on and then you're dealing with a stressful situation or you've got a big day at work, you've got a big presentation, you're letting that grief kind of creep in and it's making you think this is not going to go well. I'm going to crash. I'm going to crash and burn in front of everybody. But then it's like, no, wait, this is not going to happen. I got this. I'm prepared. It's more of that insanity. And then sometimes I'm like, should I be hearing these voices in my head? Should I be hearing all of this stuff? Am I going crazy? But hey, even the cartoons back in the day, you'd have the angel on one shoulder, the little devil on the other shoulder. That's just voices in your head, right? You don't see anybody here, right? Okay, just making sure. No, seriously. But that's what I mean. Like, I can be laughing, I can be joking, and then in a split second, I'm in tears. Or I have literally been laughing, and that laughter has turned to tears. That makes me literally feel like I am freaking going crazy. It's just, grief is bananas. And the thing is, it's like just when you get to the point where you feel like you're over the grief of one thing, something else happens. You lose somebody else. You lose something else. And now you're trying to deal with that. And you're not even over the previous. Like, what is it all for? How are we supposed to deal with things like that? Now, of course, when you're a kid and you lose a family member, it can be hard, but not as hard as you've lived life and you've lived life with this person, or you've been there this person's whole life. You gave birth to them and spent 24 years raising them and watching them become a member of society just to have them taken from you. Even right now, I feel like I'm all over the place. I feel like this wasn't even where the topic was supposed to go. Is that holiday grief? Or is that just because I wanted to express it? I wanted to talk about what the journey's like. That's what We Are Mighty is all about. And it's just all coming to me, and it's all manifesting in a way that you can see that if you're going through this, you're not alone. Hold on. It will get somewhat easier, but it may get harder again. So I can't say, oh, it's going to get better. I think it will. But the triggers can take you, it can be 3 steps forward, and the triggers can take you 18 back. That's why the grief stages. They're not a cycle. Because a cycle, you follow a pattern. Those stages are all over the place. And I've said before, I think there's a few extra stages that nobody talks about. So you've got all of that jumbled together constantly in your mind, in addition to just living your everyday life. And right now, dealing with the stupid holidays. They'll be over soon. Believe it or not, we have the same 24 hours in every day. Even though there are days when it feels longer. How many times do you say, ooh, what a long day? It is the same length as every other day. But it still feels like it's longer than others. It's wild when you think about those things. Just how the human mind works. Our thought process. Like, you get deep and you will get into a rabbit hole, just like I almost did just a couple minutes ago. And you will just go deeper and deeper and forget where you originally were even thinking about. It happens too. Just dig yourself back out of it and try to move on to the next. And no, it may happen again, because grief, when it's the grief of when you're grieving a close loved one or something of a very high level of importance to you, very well will be a lifelong journey. So can't say you'll be past it, you'll be over it, it won't bother you, because it's just not true. That's why I'm particular with saying, I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to stay in this space, because I know anything can take me back to the negative space, back to the pain, back to the tears. I wish there was a way to snap your fingers, take something, do something, and be over the grief. Keep the memories, keep the love. Just that pain, just be completely over it. And maybe I need to just look into something and they come up with medicines for everything nowadays. Maybe there's a medicine that can come up with that can block that part. They got fat blockers, beta blockers, all of that stuff. Maybe they could just block the grief. Yeah, that's what I'm going to work on. Let's see what we can find that can block the grief. Don't hold your breath, though, because, yeah. Like I said, this is not where I expected today's topic to go. And the thing is, I don't write scripts. I barely write notes. I try to think of a title, and it usually changes after I've recorded. But I just think about, what do I want to talk to people about? What do I think other people are dealing with? And I sit here, and usually in one take, I can fill up the time. I can just elaborate on it. That means that it's a part of me. It's a part of life. But it's not an act, that's for sure. I would never act out something like this. I would never pretend in dealing with something like this, because I don't want to deal with it. I don't have a choice. So hopefully, me letting you see me get stuck in a rabbit hole, start to spiral a little bit. Even though I've been doing this for well over a year, I still somehow have topics. I still am able to speak on it. To just let you know, it's a journey, a continuous one. It's a ride you can't get off. You may slow it down. It's like that roller coaster. It'll slow down and then inch its way up to that top and then fall when you least expect it. But I got you, though. Lucky for you, there's all kinds of episodes you can go back on. Talk about all kinds of things that you may go through. Don't just watch it once. Go back and watch another one. Or watch it another time. Yeah. You know what I mean. But as far as new episodes, we are here every other Friday. Everywhere you listen to your podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify and see all the crazy faces I make. But in everything you do, be true to yourself. Be strong. And be mighty. We'll see you next time.
They won't stop me now. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me, no.